MCOY just played 3 matches at the LEC Summer regular season opening weekend, and they lost all 3 series, thus starting the split at a really concerning 0-3 standing. And although the 6 other LEC teams have not played yet, at least for now, this leaves MCOY at literally 10th place. And if we use LEC Spring 2026 regular season as an example, we can infer that MCOY will likely need to win 5 of their 6 remaining matches in order to just qualify for playoffs. And now this is definitely not the first time this roster has faced a difficult situation like this due to their own poor performance. But something about this happening during the final split of a now 3-year run that this core MCOY project has had together, this has all led me to reflect on not just this weekend's games, not even just the games from EWC, but every game from MCOY's entire run in the LEC so far. And after reflecting on all these games, I think I can finally answer the question, why does MCOY suck so bad? Well, the first of MCOY's team problems is drafting. So this one annoys me for a few reasons. One, Melzhet in interviews has stated that he is primarily responsible for drafts, and it's really annoying when watching behind the scenes documentaries and Melzhet doesn't really have much to say in terms of addressing the team's mental when they are behind or when they're playing poorly in a series, other than to just tell them, hey, you guys are playing poorly. And then he says he's going to go work on the draft, and then he comes back to pick ban with the worst drafting of any top team in the LEC. There are a million examples that I could pull from, but this one is one that I noticed, and I'm really not a draft guy, so for me to notice, you know it's bad. Game 4 of the G2 series from spring playoffs, the first 3 picks from MCOY are meant to be a wombo combo, where you layer Seraphine ult with MF ult and Rumble ult to just destroy the enemies. But they draft themselves into a corner because they don't have any engaged champions to start the fight. So they then pick Lee Sin and Akali, champs with almost no engaged tools other than Lee Sin Kick. Lee Sin Kick as an engage, like insecting the backline carries, is not easy to execute and definitely not reliable, especially if we're intending to hit multiple targets with a wombo combo. With a comp like this, you want something like a Jarvan or Wukong, a bruiser with AoE CC, to dive in, get all the enemy champions immobile so that Seraphine can layer her ultimate on top, chain the CC, so that Rumble and MF can then layer their ultimates on top and get maximum value from their ultimates by hitting the CC'd opponents for their full duration. But instead here, we get Lee Sin and Akali. Now we are only relying on Seraphine ult as our only engage tool. And that's bad enough, but Seraphine doesn't even get another champion to follow up her CC. It then limits the damage potential of Rumble and MF that MCOY literally drafted for. Now, if you have an elephant brain and remember this series really well, and you hate me for some reason, you are probably screaming or preparing to smugly comment that J4, Skarner, and Yone, great champs to start a fight that would really fit this comp, were all picked previously, and that Wukong was banned by G2 before MCOY could pick 4 or 5. And yeah, I know. So why are we running this comp? It's so obvious what this comp needs that even a bottom tier team would have banned out the Wukong on 4 here. And this is something that a team like G2 would do. They would build a comp with a specific goal or vision in the first 3, and this is where in 4-5, after the obvious pick and the Wukong is banned out, this is where a spicy off-meta pick like a Malphite or Maokai jungle would have been brilliant. Maybe even in a Zir mid so that the shuffle could be the engage, and that's more meta, and maybe it wouldn't have been perfect, but there would at least be cohesion. What cohesion is there with a Lee Sin and Akali? Here you have 3 champs that want to layer their spells and 2 champs that want to run around a fight, bobbing and weaving and picking off low health squishy targets. Maybe the idea was that the 3 champ wombo combo lowers G2's HP bars and then Elyoya and Jojopyun clean up, but honestly, is it cynical of me to say that it's more likely that Akali and Lee Sin were picked for comfort for Jojopyun and Elyoya respectively? And also, by the way, again, through so much research in this video, in an interview with Alvaro, he mentioned that one thing that MCOY tries to do in their draft is pick champions where every single player has agency, which I don't think is really the smart approach. Even while researching, I was looking up LCK and LPL drafts, And in those drafts, there's still more cohesion than this. Also, why did teams like MCOY prioritize picking Seraphine instead of Ashe first? In my opinion, Seraphine wasn't the scary part of that duo. It was Ashe. Ashe has so much more agency than Miss Fortune. With Supa, this series was popping off on Kaisa game 1, and I forgot who he played game 2. So why didn't we first pick Ashe? Do you guys remember in spring regular season when Supa was on Ashe and he was finding picks in fights? Like, oh, I almost feel like going back and showing you. Look at how when Supa is on Ashe, he can start a fight. Look at this crazy engage from Supa. Look at this disgusting play where an 80 carry actually smurfs on an assassin. That's absurd. Captures LeBlanc no less. And then look at this insane team fight from Supa here. Now maybe there's some luck involved in this next section, but it really is so beautiful. He pops the GA on the Lee Sin so he can't Q2. Kills Cassante, kills the Lee Sin as he tries to dash forward. And alright, he gets a little mixed up by Caps, but at the end of the day, Caps goes down. Crazy moment from Supa. Why? Why? Is there a Seraphine in sight? Why? Yeah, it's on the enemy team and it's not helping them. It's so ridiculous. It's just so bizarre to me that they didn't first pick the Ashe for Supa, and Alvaro on Seraphine isn't the best, to say it nicely. So if we first pick Ashe here and get Alvaro, Alistar, or Rel, picks that I double checked are still available, MCOY probably wins this game. But instead we limit Supa, who just popped off on Kaisa and Caitlyn, two champs who we had great performances on in games 1 and 2, to now putting him on ult bot duty, playing the Miss Fortune. Just bizarre. And he doesn't have any setup. It's so stupid. This is a draft from game 1 of MCOY versus KC this weekend. Look how awful this draft is from MCOY compared to KC. MCOY have almost literally 0 CC. They have a Camille hookshot wall dive, her tactical sweep, which slows, and I'm just being super anal when I'm talking about it, and she has her Hextech ultimatum, 2 spells that offer hard CC, otherwise you have Rumble Electro Harpoon that slows, and Nocturne with his E, Unspeakable Horror, that if it's maintained for 2 seconds, fears one enemy for 1 to 2 seconds depending on rank. So literally, no AoE CC and no real hard CC other than 3 spells across your team's 20. Compare that to KC, which has Galio Justice Punch, Shield of Duran Taunt, Hero's Entrance Knockup, Jarvan EQ, Flag and Drag, Cataclysm, Cassiopeia's Miasma, which grounds and slows, and her Petrifying Gaze that stuns enemies coming towards her, which is what Camille, Akali, and Nocturne want to do. It's what Rumble wants to do if he wants to burn you. And then on top of all that, we have Leona with her Zenith Blade, her Shield of Daybreak, Empowered Auto Attack Stun, and her Solar Flare Ultimate. So just to recap here, that is 10 forms of hard crowd control on the side of KC, with 7 of them being AoE. In addition, they also have 2, arguably 3 tanky champs that can frontline in Galio, Leona, and technically Jarvan, who can engage and create space for Yahoo and Kalist to do damage safely from the backline. And even if the members of MKOI are able to get into the backline, with 10 different spells that have CC, the teammates of Kalist and Yahoo have the tools to peel for them and get the divers off of them. And in terms of how obvious this draft is, one of the most common points of criticism when teams pick Nocturne is that teams don't pick champions that can dive in with Nocturne. It is so obvious that the AD carry that you want to pair with something like Nocturne would be Kaisa, which is why KC bans it out on 4. And then they take away a more mobile AD carry in Ezreal as well. MKOI could have picked Zeri, which is more mobile with her E that can also dash over walls. Maybe Xayah, whose ultimate can save her if she's in the middle of too many members. Supa could go Jinx, and that could take over the fight once the divers get a pick that gets her excited. Or even Senna, so she would have so much range, even more so than Caitlyn eventually, so she could safely fight from afar and also do some healing and enchanting, healing and shielding for the divers as they go forward. But instead they go Caitlyn and literally nothing functions, which leads me directly into my next point. MKOI's main character syndrome. MKOI drafts like a solo queue team, with everyone trying to carry games by themselves. And yes, like I just mentioned, that seems to be what the coaching staff wants. As Alvaro said, they want every player to have agency. I guess my argument is, that's fucking stupid. Look at this draft in isolation. What is the win condition? Is it Mirwin? Is it Jojo Pune? Or is it Supa? The reason you can't tell is because all of them are carry strong side picks that need resources to win. And there are no champs that are supporting the goals of the others. A Shen instead of Camille, so that when Jojo or Elyoya dive, they can get a massive shield to prevent them from dying and get a buddy to help CC the enemies once they are deep enough into the enemy backline. Or a Soraka or other enchanter who can keep the melees alive, maybe even peel for Supa. Maybe Jojo could have went Galio here, which would have been fantastic to add global pressure and protective shielding to carries like Rumble and Caitlyn. Granted, those picks came later in the draft, but we should know what we're going to be picking on 4-5 when we do our first 3. And it also would have supported Elyoya, who is a Nocturne that wants help when he goes in. It is so annoying because it seems like MKOI has a clear idea to some extent of the first 3 picks of draft, but it's so obvious what they are trying to do that the opponents ban or pick away great options that would fill out the rest of MKOI's draft. And because MKOI now are out of meta options to complete their comp, it's like they didn't expect the enemy to take away any of these options or see what their obvious plan was, and they leave themselves with no backup options. And then they awkwardly abandon ship and then just pick random shit their players like. In the KC example from this weekend, Merwin could have gone Galio, and since MKOI have picks 4 and 5 before KC got their 5, Merwin could have gone Galio. And MKOI banned out Vayne, which I thought was more of a counter to tanks than it was to Rumble. So it seemed like they were setting themselves up to go Galio. And if we had Galio, it would have given Caitlyn the frontline and potential peel, although I don't think they would have used it for peel, and it would have made her pick more acceptable. It just would have made the whole comp fucking function. It's ridiculous. Now, to be super fair to MKOI, main character syndrome is something that Melzhead and Jojo Pune are referencing, but in different words though. They are referencing this in interviews as the players not understanding their role in team fights. The best example of this, before this fight starts off, every single member of MKOI, notice how they all have a gold lead, particularly Supa with an individual 1.3k gold lead over Kalist. And yet, look how they play out this fight. Jojo Pune gets caught out, which we'll talk about later. Elyoya goes onto Kalist after he burned his E, and Jojo Pune finds him after he flashes, which is actually pretty impressive. But now it is a basically 4v, well, it's actually exactly a 4v4. Now, this is over Soul, so we do have to fight for this objective, but with the blinking health bars that we have and no frontliner, how do we think this fight is going to play out? Well, here, Alvaro, instead of waiting to use his key spells like the hook shot wall dive to prevent someone from getting on top of Supa, he instead uses it to get on top of theoretically Yehu, but I think he ends up landing on Busio. Oh no, he does land on Yehu. Anyway, he then Hextech ultimatums Busio, and look what happens to Kana. He gets knocked back, so it's not a dash that he inputted. He gets knocked back and put closer to Supa. Also recognize how smart the players of KC are and how target focused they are. Busio, despite everything, is just trying to get exhaust onto the Caitlyn so she can't rip up his teammates. And now MKOI on the retreat. Right here, the Hextech ultimatum goes through. Watch Kana right here. Gets knocked back. Now he is literally on top of Supa, and with 0 reaction time, like, I mean, he does not even hesitate. Starts doing damage. Lands so much damage, he takes him about from like 70% to now like 40%. Also, Supa had to flash to get away from him. He's free hitting, and now that Yehu realizes that A, Alvaro's dead, there's no more spells to get to stop Yehu as soon as he flashes forward, and Supa burned his flash. He flashes forward, lands the miasma, and even though Supa uses cleanse, Yehu gets on top, kills him, then kills Merwin, and the fight's over. And now they get soul. Compare what we just saw to this. Now, to be fair, I understand this is also draft diff, but it's draft diff mixed with a few things we're going to talk about later, like target selection, etc. This is one of my all-time favorite moments in recent history, maybe even of all LEC history, because of how impressed I was. Notice how Kalist is never left alone. When he is going into the mid lane, granted, this is a back against the wall kind of moment, but the comp is meant to do this. They have 3 tanks on the side of KC. Maokai, a little bit more of an AP bruiser at best, but still. ideally has a lot of CC and a little bit of health to work with as well, so he can take a punch. Look at how they have marked, that's another thing that KC does so brilliantly that we'll talk about later when we get to Jojo Pune. They have marked that LeBron is here. Look at how, even though G2 is playing so far forward and we have all the ultimates, so we could get Yike ultimate, followed by Kana ultimate, followed by Busio knockup, and Kalist just free hitting to go crazy against the members of G2. Maybe get to the back line, right? Instead, they are not pulling the trigger because it is all about where is LeBron and where is that, I forget what Nico freaking ultimate is called, right? So look at the patience. They wait. Even Caps, I think he's going to get a really clutch. Look, they see Nico, right? Yeah, that was the clutch wall where now Yike is getting chunked out. He's Zanya's. I think he flashes, right? LeBron is still standing there. Yike finally uses the ultimate, right? Now look, where are Busio and Yike? Are they on these carries? No, because they are marking LeBron. They are making sure they know this is their job, right? And I'll prove it in like 2 seconds. Look, Kalist and Kana free hitting here. Yehu's not even here. I don't know if Yehu was dead or something, or no, I think he's just fighting off Broken Blade over here. Look at this. They drop a ward. They literally know to look for LeBron. And then watch. It's so crazy. You would think that maybe they're putting 2 members here just to ensure that LeBron doesn't join this fight. No, they have 2 members because it's exactly what they need. Watch. Busio knockback even before the ultimate goes off. Notice where Yike is. Yike is already underground or whatever. I don't know how Maokai, like what that counts as. But he's like invulnerable because he is rooting Nico. Nico has, where is she? Down here. Hextech Rocket Belt and flash and heal. Just heal, even more movement, right? Even with the Busio pushback, Nico could get back in range of Kalist. And yet, he's rooted. He can't do anything because of Yike. Because of Yike's W. That's absurd. And look, imagine, look how much health he lost. Look at Kalist in the fight now. Look at how much damage he takes and he loses his spell shield. If that landed, Kalist was dead. Kalist was dead. And yes, Kalist had GA, but that would have been it. It would have just been the members of G2 just free hitting onto everybody, you know, on KC. And that buys enough time for Yehu to kind of like just go crazy and start smurfing and literally turn the fight. And that's not to mention that Yehu is also going a more like ally related item in the Crypt Bloom so that when he gets a kill, it sends an AoE heal to the rest of his teammates. So again, compare that to what we just saw with MKOI. And sadly, I think it's a combination of all the players' strengths being in carrying that is why this main character syndrome is coming out. Mirwin looks his worst when he is weak siding on an Ornn or Sion, often being more behind than you would expect a weak side top laner to be. Jojo Pune has picks like the Galio that are actually so crazy with an 80% win rate this year, but instead we insist on picking him Rise that has a 22% win rate this year. Look it up. As of July 29th, 2026, that is the stat. Alvaro is amazing at engaged supports, but not great at enchanters who are meant to keep their carries alive. I also feel a lot of times like Alvaro tries to play the enchanters like engaged supports, and we've seen players like Lebrov and Busio make great plays. There's also the situation where Lebrov's Soraka flashed forward to silence Jojo Pune so that he couldn't react with either Zanya's or Flash to Broken Blade's Malphite ult. The problem is these are more exceptions and unique things that these enchanters can do rather than the primary use case of the enchanters. Alvaro is more known for his 3-man knockups with Alistar at Worlds that win MCOY games single-handedly than he is known for keeping Supa alive by knocking away key spells from the enemies to keep his AD carry safe. And I don't need to go person by person. I guess the point is, it just leads me to believe that sadly, and this really is sad because I really love all 5 of these players, even Supa. Thank God I did research on this video because Supa, I don't know about to say ever, but especially now that I've been paying more attention, I'm like, holy shit, Supa is trapped. Free Supa. Sadly, all 5 of these players together is a disservice to each other. To this point, I haven't seen the flexibility needed for players to take a step back so the others can shine. And honestly, why would we even want that? Would we want to see a talented carry mid like Jojo on permanent weak side duty? Or would we prefer to see Jojo on a team with maybe less firepower around him, but are great at enabling him? Honestly, bro, that's so annoying off script. But like, man, I don't know about MKOI, but other teams really do not value weak siders and enablers enough. Honestly, same with Elyoya, who I think for basically 3 years has had to play supportive picks, because if he goes carry picks like Gwen in game 5 versus KC in LEC playoffs, a champ that needs to farm up and scale, one, his coaches are going to draft Lucian, Milio, Yone, and Cassante, aka 4 champs that do nothing to help Gwen, and vice versa, Gwen does nothing to help those 4 champions. So in this game, this is the one where Yike went Kha'Zix and Elyoya went Gwen. It's game 5 of a very important series. Now, as a diamond level jungler, just hit diamond, I can speak to this with a little bit of knowledge. When you're playing a carry jungler, even if you're playing something aggressive like a Kha'Zix, you want camps, you want to level, you want your tempo. So, as we can see, Yike is basing really fast, despite the fact that he could theoretically make a play like on this Milio, who's really far pushed up. I'm not saying that it'd be a great play. It's a good reason why he's backing, but he is backing to try and be in time for his Krugs the moment they are up. Now look, on the opposite side of the map, Elyoya is also basing, and he doesn't know that he's on a ward, and Kana's Akali is playing up, and he actually cancels his base because he thinks that there's going to be an opening. Unless that was a mistake, just a complete misclick, to me it reads more like Elyoya is basing in this particular bush so that if a play breaks out, he's able to react to it. This, however, puts him slightly behind in tempo, which you can see that because this camp is already coming up before Elyoya's first camp, right? Krugs before Gromp, Kha'Zix clears faster than Gwen, especially in the early game. But this slight tempo advantage is what allows Yike's Kha'Zix to go for an invade, which he was already planning in the previous cycle, as you can see how lit up this side of the jungle is, and now he is setting up to go for the crows on their respawn, and Yahoo got the push with the Galio, which is a supportive pick, so he is ready to make the rotation. So now Elyoya is trying to contest for his crows, because he knows if he's not able to get this, well, all of Yike's topside camps are also gone, and there's going to be no way for him to get there, so this is just going to be a net positive, net gain for Yike. Yone tries to come in, but he's at half HP. Busio also gets the rotation. So honestly, I mean, this is also goes into MKOI's over aggression, because maybe we should just call off this play, because look what it ends up costing them. Yike gets the smite, they go in onto Gwen, we get Elyoya's flash, and we get Jojo Pube's flash as well. Just a horrible play. That was all for just one flash from Yike. And then shortly thereafter, I understand Elyoya is desperate right now. He needs to do something, and he's even pinging for help. So Mirwin is looking to go. Now, I don't understand why Mirwin is going mid first, or in the river, before actually going. I'm pretty sure they're seeing him on vision. It's actually stupid that he is not in this bush getting ready. He has nothing else to be doing. So Mirwin's trying to join the fight. I don't know how Yike knows that this is happening. I think this might have just been a read. So now Yike is level 6 because he was able to full clear the bot side of Elyoya's camps and get his own Gromp. Now he's level 6. Now his smite has leveled up, so now it's a 1000 HP smite instead of a 600 damage smite. Oh yeah, he does. I mean, maybe he didn't know. I don't know. But he walks in, bam, immediately smites. Now he's slamming Elyoya. Galio has the ultimate. Look at the bottom right corner here. Jojo Pune cannot stop him. And now Kana rotates. And Elyoya gets killed. Didn't get the camp. And alright, Yike goes down, but it also costs Mirwin his flash, and we get a kill for Kana. So 2 for 1. And it just boggles my mind. I don't understand why. Like, this is such an existing problem. I don't think that even LCK teams can, or LPL teams can draft like this. I might be wrong. I'm not the most familiar with those regions, but I don't think they're drafting like this. It doesn't make any sense. How are the players supposed to help each other? Now, I'm realizing a lot of these points kind of go hand in hand, but obviously MKOI has a massive over-aggression and desperation and not tracking spells problem. Okay, this next example is actually, I guess it is desperation, but it also goes hand in hand with this not understanding their role in team fights note that came from Coach Mel's hair. In this game versus Gam, MKOI has a clear single target pick comp. Renekton has single target CC, Lissandra has single target CC, Jarvan EQ and Nico Ultimate can be AoE, but even their damage is single target, with Kai'Sa, I believe, primarily having single target damage, right? She doesn't have like a Xayah thing or anything like that, right? She's just auto-attacking, and her Q at best, whatever. I don't know why I'm over-explaining this. When compared to Gam, who has a lot more AoE spells. Rakan Charm, his knockup is a circle, obviously Ziggs ultimate and a lot of his spells that he throws, REQ, Zehen ultimate, Wukong ultimate, especially with the CC that provides. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because towards the end of this game, this was a horrible series from MKOI. Even their first win was so fraudulent, and it's embarrassing. Like, I don't think we should have lost the game, but I can understand that MKOI was clearly not feeling confident here. But here's the thing. Look at how we start off this play. Alvaro is a minion, and I don't really know the angle that he sees here. I guess he sees Zig stepping up, goes for it, but the knockup is completely whiffed because Ziggs just hits Zanya's. So now he doesn't even get damaged, he doesn't get knocked up, nothing. At the same time that this is happening, we have Jojopyun and Mirwin trying to step into the fight. Mirwin steps up, doesn't have any vision, so he immediately gets charmed by Ari, which prevents him from helping at all. Jojopyun fully commits with his, like, I don't know what that Lissandra ability is. You can commit to it or you don't have to. He commits to it. Now his mobility's gone. Now he's in the fight whether he likes it or not. Now that Ziggs was in stasis, there's nothing to do there. So Jojopyun is kind of just walking around unsure of who to target because they're trying, I guess. No, he actually does use some key spells on Wukong, which I guess isn't terrible. But then Elyoya uses his ultimate. It's not like he's a lethality Jarvan. I don't know what he's trying to get out of this. He traps his own teammates. Look at how it pulls in the Nico and Jojopyun and the Lissandra. Watch. It's not even like they have an MF, like they can freaking just, you know, fire on top, layer some spells. What do we think this Cataclysm is going to do other than just a little bit of Jarvan damage? Like, that's ridiculous. All it does is trap his own teammates with no mobility so that Zehen ultimate, Rakan ultimate, I mean, I know Rakan ultimate is not damaging, but it keeps them all with no ability to do anything else. And Ziggs ultimate, Wukong ultimate, Zehen ultimate, all layered on top, just slaughtering the health bars of MKOI. Like, actually devastating. In this example, I understand it was late game. I guess I chalk it up more to desperation than anything else, but I feel like I have seen MKOI misplay with their tools like that. The whole goal is not to take a 5v5 against those champions. It is to find a pick before an objective so that you have an advantage when you get into a full-on team fight. Now, in terms of an example of just more raw over aggression, here is MKOI, who are behind against G2. This is game 4 of spring playoffs. This is actually the draft with that wombo combo that I was talking about with Akali and Lee Sin layered on top. And to my surprise, they actually find a really crazy fight here. They get Skewmon killed, Supa goes over, Elyoya finds a really good Q onto Hansama, plus the damage of Jojopyun. He finds it right now. Bang. There you go. Right here. Right here. The play is over. You've killed everybody, right? Before Caps was even able to arrive. Caps has his ultimate. I don't think MKOI tracks spells, by the way, for what it's worth. We have him on vision. We know he's here. And actually, if you go to the voice comms, I'm pretty sure they felt confident about taking this fight, which is just absurd, right? They both have 60% HP bars. Caps is full everything. Again, they probably don't even realize that he has ultimate, that he has flash. They completely, even actually bullshit. I guess they really didn't know he was there, which is ridiculous because freaking Jojopyun's basing. Look how long it takes him to react to this play. What was that? Why are we taking the blue buff? I mean, this is like shit that happens in my solo queue games, man. Why are we sticking around? They're not respecting Caps, even though he's literally seen on vision. I guess, is he invisible? He's invisible, but like he starts from here. Just really frustrating. In this example against KC from this weekend, so the idea here is that we're going to get Jojopyun to put our Orianna ball onto Elyoya so that he can dive onto Kalist and they can also shockwave right afterwards, right? But here's the thing. He has Orianna ball. He uses his ultimate. They use the shockwave and Kalist flashes it. Do you want to know something? This is 19 minutes and 32 seconds into the game. I went back to minute 0, scrubbed through the whole game. Kalist had not used his flash once in the entire game so far. He also had his ultimate here for like, he gets it back at 18:37. This fight breaks out at like 19:27. So about 50 seconds. So if we're tracking his ultimate, Kalist has ultimate to get away from that engage, and he literally has not used flash. Like, why not, right, when we go for this engage? The engage is fine. Get Kalist flash. Amazing. Why use the shockwave? We literally have no idea. Like, we're not even thinking about Flash. It's almost as though, like, because clearly I cannot imagine that they think his Flash is down. Why are we using such a key ability on one target? We don't even know if we know for a fact his Flash is up. He gets out. That's it. Now the whole fight's over. Look at the target selection. This actually is so goddamn impressive on the side of KC, by the way. Look at this. Look, Yahoo is like right behind Yike. I know Yike has more mobility, but he's right behind Yike. Look, the second this play happens, within, I mean, literally, I don't know if I'm willing to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 15 frames apart. 2 TPs come in from the side of KC. That is how fast they are ready to collapse on an attempt from MCOY. And look at the, I mean, I don't know if they freaking reviewed this. Like, it is such brilliant TPs. Like, Yahoo could just walk up and be at this fight, but he's cutting off their escape. Look at this. They're routed. They can't go this way. They can't go back to safety of their towers and such because Nar's about to block them off, which they try, and he keeps them in the center of this fight. Busio is keeping them from going up to this river, and now Yahoo is preventing them from going back, and Yike and Callista are preventing them from obviously going deeper and onto their carries. And then Mirwin TP's in, and again, it's just like all of our tools are being used for separate cases. Obviously, Jojo P doesn't have his ultimate, neither does Aoyoya unless he gets a kill. Look, they even, I mean, fucking credit to Superman, credit to Super. Look at him. He's the one who's bringing CC to the table, pushing away Kana so that he can't ult onto the members, onto Aoyoya and Jojo Pune, and then he flashes forward and does it anyway. And literally, then Yahoo gets the ultimate off. Yahoo is literally not being stopped at all. Alvaro, I can't really give him too much shit for this, but he does miss a crucial spell to like stun Yahoo and keep him out of this fight. Mirwin is trying to get on top of Callista here, and Busio. I mean, you know, I can't flame him too hard, but Yike also brilliantly, like literally, it's actually really insane how well that KC play these fights. Look, Yike does not get trigger happy. This looks delicious to an Assassin Kiana. This looks delicious. You flash forward for this, Q through them, W, everything. You do ult them into this wall. That's what anybody else would do. But instead, to save Callista, you want to talk about agency and every player on the team, Yike. I mean, again, maybe I'm flaming MCOY for something they're already aware of. The point of this video is to make them aware of things that they don't know. But Yike literally gets Mirwin and prevents him from being a part of this fight. I think he even recognizes that they really don't need his damage. Well, he does freaking murder Jojo Pune, and then Callista also has the ability to dash in. And then that's it. And then they murder Mirwin too. And it's just a freaking GG's, man. It's just a GG's. Look at how much MCOY dominate when they have a good draft with CC and globals. They love globals. Why? Why have we not seen Aoyoya Pantheon all weekend? That is so bizarre to me. Okay, he picks Nocturne, that's fine. Again, we're not giving him any other tools to help him there. Why are we not running Pantheon? Why are we not running things with global pressure? Why are we running Talia? Which I'm pretty sure, I'm not exaggerating, I think Jojo Pune has a 100% win rate on right now. In terms of individual players, I have been super critical of Mirwin because, as I've said many times, we brought in Alfari this year, who back in 2024 worked with G2 and helped Broken Blade specifically in lane phase, which made him that year an actual international threat, getting solo kills at tournaments like MSI. Mirwin's laning has always been his biggest fault. I do think he also struggles in team fights, which is not a strength of Alfari's, so I'm sure he doesn't bring that to the table. Also, my understanding is that on G2, Alfari was more of a positional coach, whereas in this team, he's actually straight up an assistant coach, so he probably has more responsibilities than just specifically helping out Mirwin. But still, to have a resource like Alfari on your team, someone who took Broken Blade to international status, which is saying a lot about Alfari's former level, and Mirwin not really showing drastic levels of improvement, is a bit frustrating. To be fair, I don't know if you guys saw this article where MKOI Phoenix or something, their academy team in the ERLs, they just brought in Night Slayer, their top laner, who also had interest from Fnatic in this offseason. So this is a player who's clearly showing some promise behind the scenes with most LEC teams that are looking for a new top laner. He has been brought to Berlin And according to Melset, this is not meant to threaten mirror win. This was meant to just ensure that MKOI has a good option in the top lane. God forbid mirror win just completely shits the bed, I guess. It's a little bit finicky. You know, take it with a grain of salt what the head coach is saying. You know what I mean? He's obviously not going to be totally transparent for a number of reasons. But I do agree with Melset when he says that he had a talk with mirror win after EWC and mirror win's level has improved. In my opinion, aside from like one or two moments, which across this entire weekend, I think emotion and just their confidence has been so rocky that everybody had bad moments, even Supa, who I think did the best out of everybody this weekend. I think Mirwin actually showed a substantial level of improvement, so I'm not going to put his head on the axe. I do just wish that we were picking more utility from him and that the other members of MCOY could rely on that rather than him picking Rumble into a comp where we have no CC and no frontline, and he ultimately is very useless. Now, Elyoya had a decent weekend overall. Again, still the issues with over-aggression, which we have a few examples of. One of the most egregious examples, which really upset me, was here in Game 2 versus Vitality. MCOY is already up one game. They are up a substantial amount with 6 kills to 1. The thing is, most of this gold deficit is on Jojo Pune. He is the one who solo boloed Fiesta and then had Elyoya come and also get a few more kills on Fiesta. So Fiesta is super behind in this lane. Meanwhile, the members of Elyoya, Supa, and Alvaro, who are going into Fleshy, Linkus, and Carzzy, are not as ahead. They're only ahead by 500 gold. So when you look at the items, they're pretty much even. This isn't even something you buy, these boots on Elyoya's side. So we have Sundered Sky versus Sundered Sky, Essence Reaver versus Essence Reaver. The only advantage in Supa's case is boots. And Alvaro and Fleshy have basically like the same shit across the board. 800 versus 900. And then I don't know how much this shit is, but this is 400, 300, 300, whatever. Here, they go for this fight, right? Pretty aggressive since we're going underneath the tower. Supa goes for it. We get Fleshy flash for Alvaro's ultimate, right? Okay, cool. Let's back off. Now we get Carzzy's ultimate. Amazing. Let's back off. Alvaro's almost dead. Instead, Elyoya goes forward, gets chunked out by Linkus. Okay, we're still pushing forward. We get Fleshy's ultimate. Okay, huge. Let's back off. Instead, Elyoya kicks Linkus, throws the Q. We keep staying. You guys see this guy up here who's about to fuck their shit up? Why is Jojo Pune not screaming that Fiesta's coming? Call off the play. Stop, guys. Do not come. Do not stay. Do not stay. Do not stay. Fiesta missing. Fiesta missing. Fiesta missing. You know what Jojo Pune's probably saying? I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Boom. Right here. We see him. We see him. Call off the play. Run. Run. Why is Supa? I love Supa. Why are you stepping forward here? Absolutely absurd. Bam. He flashes. Solo dies to Carzzy. Fiesta gets this massive ultimate that allows him to... does he flash forward? Or no, without even having to flash. Gets the kill onto Elyoya after the shockwave, literally independently getting that lead. And then Linkus is able to ultimate. And despite the stun, bam. Kill Jojo Pune. A game... I mean, literally, their whole gold lead eradicated. What was their gold lead before this? 2.3k. 2.3k. We could walk away at any time here. At any time. The only thing I'll tell you is maybe we're worried about Linkus ult, which they're not. They're just being silly. Like, literally, we could call off this play at any time. If you're worried about Linkus ult, why did we kick here? If he had saved his kick, instead of, look, what does this kick accomplish? I love Elyoya. What does that kick accomplish? The E did so much work there. No damage. This moment from Elyoya is really egregious. He is trying to contest the Scuttle Crab, which this is like a little bit of a deep read here, so don't put too much weight in it. But it really reeks of like insecurity to me because Elyoya is trying to contest Crab when right now, first of all, Nefiri's a really strong early game champion. I don't know if you've ever seen her in top lane, like 1v1, like a Varus or something. Like literally her like W gives her like a bunch of dogs and their auto attacks are crazy. Alistar's not super strong right now, especially. I think at least Rel gets a shield and shit like that. Anyway, we try to contest. I guess the idea is that Supa can get here first before Carzzy, but also Supa's at like 60, 55% HP. Isn't going to do too much damage as like a level 380 carry. It's actually kind of crazy how much work Carzzy's able to do in this fight. And then Fiesta is able to rotate first against Jojo Pune, who's supposed to be better at laning. So now he gets there. And literally, I mean, That's it. We burned spells, by the way, for all this. And then, just to add insult to injury, look what Jojo Pyun does. Immediately TPs to the minions. Literally, the enemies are here. The enemies are here. He doesn't have egg. He lost egg in a 1v1 to Fiesta. He just dies. I mean, I know that's more about Jojo Pyun, but still. Then later on, this play is a lot of desperation from the side of MKOI. Alvaro flash forward, dashes, pummels so that everybody gets knocked up. It literally only lands onto one. Linkus is able to evade it. Elyoya EQs forward to follow up, hits nobody. They get comboed by Fleshy and Fiesta. Alvaro dies for nothing. Elyoya doesn't have an EQ, so all he can do is just walk. He gets killed. 2 for nothing. Before a dragon. Actually, yeah, before the dragon. Look at this play. Poor Supa. Supa is 6-1-2 at 2.4k ahead. He is just trying to carry this game. What is Elyoya doing? Watch this. Look at this. Elyoya EQs forward, misses onto Karzi. Even if he hit that, who's gonna follow up? Is it Supa? Are we expecting Supa to ult like right here or some shit? What is the play? Yeah, Mirwin's there. Okay. Now you died. Supa just got caught out by Fiesta. Mirwin's down. Though then, this shit pissed me off. Listen to the casters.
It seems like everything is falling apart for MCOY. Crawled their way back in game 2 and are fist fighting MCOY in game 3. What a turnaround! What are you doing? I don't know.
What is Supa doing? What is Supa doing? He is single-handedly pulling Vitality off the Baron and keeping the game alive.
Oh, he's flashing out. He's trying to make something happen here. He actually pulls.
Trying to make something happen here. Literally gets them off the objective. Like, actually insane. Here again, like, I just don't understand. It's like we don't know what the enemy champions do. Like, we don't know that Linkus can use his W to avoid a lot of the key spells. Elyoya misses his EQ. Like, literally terrible, dude. I really hate to shit on Elyoya. And then there, oh my god. I don't know if he's calling for Supa to help him because Supa has ultimate, maybe. But Mirwin dash flash forward. Literally does 2 auto attacks to Karzi. Supa's like, dude, I'm not throwing away shutdown and whatever just for you to do something crazy like that. And then this is actually insane. Elyoya calls for a Baron here. He just gets ripped apart. Alvaro dies for it, dude. Like, actually crazy. Actually crazy. Like, I mean, that was really the most egregious example. Jojo Pyun, I have a lot to say. Not only has he been playing individually disgusting recently, but I truly feel like, okay, yes, he's talented in lane, but when it comes to map plays and even team fighting, he is really bad, or at least has really glaring weaknesses. A lot of the reason being because for some reason, like a lot of the members on MCOY, he likes to lead with his face. Again, maybe the draft calls for this because they aren't being given engage tools. Melzet did say that the team is struggling with Alvaro not being their primary engage, but my god, the list of mistakes, especially from Jojo Pyun, are unforgivable, and in a lot of cases, the excuses don't even apply. Here, this play drives me absolutely nuts. Jojo Pyun literally knows that Yike is here. Knows that Yike is here. Alvaro knows it. Elyoya knows it. They all know Yike is here. In fact, they know Kana's here behind him too. What possesses Jojo to show there? What possesses Jojo to show there? Go this way. Go this way. Why? Why? So we allow him to EQ, ult, get Galio ult, get you knocked up? You just had to burn your ultimate, dude. An ultimate that could have been really important later. I don't know if this is just a coincidence, but it always seems like Jojo, especially when he's on a Kali, is trying to find a flank, and Kana is always the one to spot him out.
Equalizer out, Jojo's burning, but Flame Spitter is AoE over the wall. He's gonna overheat. Electro Harpoon number 2.
He finds Jojo here. And I appreciate that Jojo is talented because obviously a lot of these plays don't get punished harder because of Jojo's ability to escape them at the last second, but it doesn't make them good plays, and it exposes something, whether that be because of, you know, MCOY's inability, especially with potentially Alvaro on not, engaged supports to set up vision properly. Maybe it's something he doesn't even do on engaged supports. I don't know. But Jojo Pune seems to really get exposed by a lot of the... Yeah, I'm really not sure what it is, but it just seems like KC and especially Kana are always able to mark Jojo. Yeah, it looks like there is a ward right over here where Jojo Pune's going to eventually pass. Yeah, this bush right here. He Oracle lenses it, he clears it, and then look, does not pay any respect. It's actually so much worse than I thought. He still steps into this bush. Kana walks forward, and you would think, like, you're seeing Kana. Look, you're seeing Kana. Why are you not running? Why are you not running? And look, I mean, they literally know. Like, dude, why are you going here? Look, Yike immediately starts kiting towards this. And then he sees Jojo Pune, immediately is prepared to do this. Immediately prepared. And I almost want to call it luck that Jojo was able to find that. It was a lucky situation, a lucky escape. It was a bad play from Jojo. This is another example of Jojo Pune, again with Kana, getting perfectly picked out, right? Literally waiting. Look, Kana is not in the dragon side. Somehow they know that Jojo Pune is most likely going to be flanking here, either because of preparatory work, knowing how Jojo Pune likes to play these fights, or something. But they know, and that's why Kana's here. And dude, the second he sees Jojo has no idea he's here. Bang. Gets hit. And he's going to make sure Jojo Pune cannot enter this fight. In this G2 series, and just throughout the weekend, Jojo Pune really just started inting it. Look at this play. Jojo Pune starts a Realm Warp all the way back here for a fight. I don't know why. Like, Realm Warp is not a full commitment. You could always walk out of it. You could always cancel it. But he commits and just immediately gets collapsed on and dies. And by the way, he was 4-0-1 with just a second ago a 1.3, 1.2k gold lead. Here, take another look at this Realm Warp from Jojo Pune. I don't understand why. Why did you Realm Warp here? Why are you taking it? You could walk to this fight. Instead, you go in. Caps knows you're there. You're on a ward. Maybe you didn't know you were on a ward, but immediately gets caught. Has the Zanyas. And then look, with no Zanyas, just gets popped. Because he's freaking stepping forward like he has all the HP in the world. And like he's got a frontliner. Look at this over here. Jojo Pune just walking into a Baron fight. Literally, no awareness, no, stepping up over here so that, he literally gets ulted on. You could barely make it out. Has the Zanyas, nobody's able to save him. In an interview that I've mentioned before, which is Alvaro talking after the Madrid roadshow, he mentions that, well, I'm actually going to play the clip for you because it's actually really cool.
Jojo overall is the shot caller in our team, but I think, for example, Jojo sometimes tries to take the leadership and tries to shot call. Jojo Pune has done really weird plays today and yesterday that throw us the games. For example, on Aesir, he got caught one time here. So, for example, just say, shut the fuck up, just let me talk and listen to me. In the last seats that we actually finished the game on this one, he said, let's not talk, we know how to do it, let's just show it.
For those of you who don't know, when Jojo Pune won the LCS on Evil Geniuses, it's kind of well known at this point that it was mainly Inspired doing a lot of the thinking for him, and Jojo Pune was mainly the hands. And he really is mainly the hands, and I don't know why he feels the need to make calls in this team. So to be totally fair to Jojo in this situation, it's not him who is first calling to end the game. It is actually Oyoya, to the point where Supa actually, after this play, flashes over the freaking Nexus walls to try and, obviously min-max ending the game. You guys probably know this situation. See, Oyoya calling for it, we end mid.
If you guys just don't die, you can end mid.
Yes, I will TP.
Clear the wave and play with Senna slow.
I don't see it, I'm backing off. Sounds good.
Right? Oyoya's backing off. But meanwhile, Jojo Pune is TPing. Why is he TPing? I mean, I know this is like a last minute thing, but then he TPs, right?
Okay, run.
Okay, why are you still here? Look, he's hitting caps. He's hitting caps. Why?
They flash.
I stop.
We win.
We win, he says.
Back up.
That play literally cost the whole game. That's one of the two plays that cost the whole game. If you walk away and Caps really tries to play forward, then Caps is going to be by himself.
If they aura farm, yeah. They flash.
I stop.
We win.
Forward.
Back up.
He dies. That allows
Try to defend
Skumon
it
to
on
Pantheon ult. Caps is now
Sal's no flash.
continuing to stay forward.
I'm making time.
Alvaro had to turn back to try and save Jojo. Now Alvaro's dead.
Silence no flash, okay?
I
Panther
can
And
use
then
couple
Mirwin
flash,
dies.
bro.
Silas Panther.
Our base and get G and we play
And then
Nash.
look,
I'm gonna
this is
record.
the last part of the
Abs
game.
on you.
We are not.
Abs on you.
I understand the confidence, like, but this is a Malphite.
Abs on you. Abs on you.
Yeah, but we are.
We're taking a lot of space. I don't want to drop
Super.
line push.
They're going in. Disengage.
Do you see how Alvaro read that?
We're taking a lot of space. I don't want to drop line
Super.
push.
They're going in. Disengage.
They're going in. He could see it, but Jojo Pune doesn't. I mean, that
We're
was
taking a lot of space. I don't want to
perfect
drop line
layer
push.
in
They're going in.
CC.
Disengage.
Like, oh my god.
We're taking a lot of space. I don't want to drop line
Super.
push.
They're going in. Disengage.
Do you understand why I'm harping on all this? Because it's the same problems. It's the same problems. The craziest thing about Supa, and I really never thought I would say this, is that I actually feel like we need to free Supa. Like, when I look at the leads that he's able to establish and the kind of correct plays that he's making, like backing for and basing for tempo and to try and push his advantage, and seeing how much MCOY does not play for him, I literally think, I'm like, if you put Supa on KC, Supa would look like Kalist. Like, easily look like Kalist, if not better. Supa is doing more with less. Now, granted, this might just be like a very particular time where Supa's doing ridiculous, but I have felt this way since spring playoffs that I don't think, the loss was his fault. Now, to be super anal, he does still make mistakes, which we'll go over in a moment. I'm sorry, I'm actually realizing this is meant to show that Supa is making the right call. Why are we contesting the dragon here when Supa is literally trying to base? We even commit Mirwin's TP, which comes in like 2 seconds, into the dragon pit. We don't steal the dragon, and we end up just trading. First of all, a TP from top lane and trading supports and a number of flashes for nothing. Mirwin doesn't do anything in that play. Why are we fighting this when we don't have our AD carry? Our AD carry does not want to take that fight. Now, there are plenty of examples of Supa still making mistakes. This is in their game 3 versus G2, where he literally saw Labrav and Hansama go this way. Why do you have to clear the wave here? Why do you have to clear the wave here? Why can't you clear it over here? Why can't you clear it over here, under your tower? Why do you have to do it here where you can get flashed on? Once again, we don't have any idea that there's vision in the mid lane, and we are so far pushed up. Like, you don't have minions, you don't have allies, you don't have global so that you can get protected. I mean, he just gets completely murdered. And also, this is like the section where everybody in MCOY kind of messes up, right? In just a second, we're going to see Alvaro get killed. Right there, bang. Labrav on it, on the play. And bam, there he goes. I mean, that was more Alvaro, but again, just wanted to point out 2 situations where Supa also did make mistakes. I really do think Supa has been playing incredible. And honestly, he's such a strong AD carry. Did you guys see his Akali performance? There's so much to go over, man. But I don't know. I literally feel like free Supa. He's actually playing so insane. And man, if his teammates could play the way that KC teammates play for Kalist, like literally Supa, I'm buying into like Supa stock right now. I actually feel like this is, like Melset was saying, like this is could be the single best player in the LEC. And I honestly don't think we'll ever know the answer if he stays on MCOY, because I don't think the teammates around him will ever allow him to shine the way he needs to. He would always have to overperform just to look as good as Kalist, who literally is being babysat with every single player on his team playing for him. Yo, what up? It's me, Tough Leader, the next day here, even though I'm wearing the same shirt. Ignore that. Basically, just wanted to come on here and say my closing remarks on the team. I was going to make this long-winded thing, but it's going to take too much time. Basically, why does MCOY suck? Well, they actually don't. If you actually go back and watch all the games from this weekend, ignore EWC. That one, besides the BLG game, which was decent, the GAM series was awful. But the BLG series and all of the series that they played in the opening weekend, all of them, MCOY either had an advantage at one point in the game, found amazing plays if they were coming back from a deficit. Like, they have the skills, and especially considering how much I went in on their terrible drafting, the fact that they're able to overperform with what I think is just shitty drafts in general really speaks to how talented all these players are. I do stand by my statement from earlier, which is that I do have major concerns that this is just a team made up of too many powerhouses. I'm not saying that they're the outright best in every single role, although I think there's an argument, arguably, but I do think it's actually very similar to like how Fnatic has scouted poorly in the past or built out a team composition with too many people trying to be the center of the team and not enough people trying or willing to weak side, right? So overall, I really don't think MCOY sucks, and it's actually shocking to me that a lot of these problems are pretty easily fixable. I know also that the team has expressed that they're very emotional, and it seems like a lot of these mistakes are emotional. Outside of, I mean, like the last examples that we just went over with Supa just getting caught out, that's just bad play, bad fundamentals, I guess. But otherwise, like, I do think some of the desperation, especially that I wish I highlighted a little bit better in the video, but long story short, it is what it is. I think some of the desperation could have been, I think the desperation comes from the emotions, which is the fact that they're not playing super well right now. A final topic that I didn't go super in depth on because, again, I wrote so much, like a literal 40 slide presentation, and through both the edit and also just the recording session from last night, I chopped the shit out of it because I realized so many of the details weren't necessarily getting to the core of what this video was trying to say, and we still managed to make it 50 minutes somehow. Anyway, point is, something that I did not get into, but I really wanted to, I might have to freaking remember, and I didn't want to edit this either, but I might have to because I can't remember what I was just going to bring up. They have way too much firepower. They're very emotional. And I'm hoping that this time off, it seems like they truly took the entire time off, right? According to Mel's head in interviews. So I am hoping that they are fresh and have the energy to improve, right? He had a conversation with Mirwin about him needing to step up individually, and Mirwin has. I'm not saying Mirwin's the best top laner in LEC right now, but his individual laning has massively improved compared to what it was at EWC. So maybe Mel's head is able to speak to his players before the rest of this split. Obviously, big expression in the MCOY community is that they're able to turn it on when it matters most. I don't love relying on that, but I really don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. I think it's going to be close. But I think at the end of the day, they do have to go against the 6 easier teams in the LEC right now. Giant X might be a concern. Shifters might be a concern. And even then, still, like, that's Na'Vi might be a concern, but still, that's still 2 more teams outside of, like, you know, that's still 7 contenders out of 6 that make it to playoffs. Fnatic is kind of talking some big game. We'll talk about that hopefully later this week. Woo! Long story short, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely check out my Patreon link down below. Subscribe. I wish I threw that earlier in the video. But thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. As always, showing me support. I'll see you guys next time. Just wanted to, fuck it, throw some closing thoughts. I hope that was a conclusion to the video.